Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, you've got me, Jodi B, and I am joined by the one, the only Mr. Perfect. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
Hey, how's everybody doing? How y'all?
I think everybody will be really excited to hear about your running journey and your lizard journey and your love of Disney and all that stuff. So excited for this. But before we jump into it, as a friendly reminder, if you have an opportunity, please go and join our Facebook page. We do have some um, some surveys, not surveys, voting opportunities coming up. We're going to have some discussions about marathon weekend. And this came actually from Caleb about choices for brunch one day. So we're going to have some things that we're going to chat on there. You want to engage with us. I mean, that's if you want to hang out with us, I guess. If you don't want to hang out with us, just ignore it. But stop over on our Facebook page, get a chance to say hi to different friends and ask any questions, get to know us. And if you get a chance, also go to your podcast or catcher of choice. And if you could give us a 5-star review, that would be awesome. Okay, housekeeping is over. On to the fun stuff. So Caleb is a fantastic Run Disney teammate. I don't even know, Caleb, when you and I met. I'd have to figure that one out. But love to hear before we get started. Why Disney? Why do you have any love for Disney? Why do you out of all the things that you could be passionate about and enjoy, why Disney?
So I mentioned this before we had talked. Growing up, but both my parents worked, so we never got to go any place like really really super cool. We went to Panama City, or we went to Dollywood, or you went to Dollywood or Panama City. That's what we did my whole, which is fine. It was, you had a great time. And I always had cousins that talked about Disney, and it was so cool. And back then I'm sure it was a lot cooler as far as like the old school stuff. But they always talked about it like, oh, you got to go, and I never got to go, never got to go. Well, when I got of age, got older, I went, uh, and I loved it. I mean, the first time I stepped on property, I was like, this is so great. Everything from, the biggest thing for me was it being so clean. You go to Six Flags and all these other amusement parks, and it's this, you get what you pay for. And you go to Disney, and it's spotless. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know. And I loved it. And I never really got into the characters or anything, but as far as the food and the people watching and the rides and just, you get in there, it's just like you're in a big giant bubble. And I like that. I mean, I know, we're all grown. We know what happens in life. When you get to Disney, it's like that all shuts down, and it's just like, I'm there for fun, and that's it. And it took me one good time, and then I mean, gosh, I've been 20 plus, 30 plus times over the years. Sometimes I'd go two, three, four times because being in Georgia, it's not that far of a drive. And when back in the day when flights were cheap, we could fly down for next to nothing. So it was cool to go down for a long weekend. But yeah, I just love it. It's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's always fun to hear everybody's story, how they got involved. How long of a drive is it for you?
With I mean, with stops, I can get there in like 7 hours. It's not
Oh,
bad.
it's not bad
Yeah,
at all.
nah.
No,
So
that's not terrible.
yep.
A little bit shorter than my drive if I
Oh
took
yeah, yeah. Forget that business. Yeah, no, not a chance. No, ma'am. So
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Run Disney today. So, how did you get involved with Run Disney? I learned about it and got involved a little bit later. Well, I didn't start running until later in life. So, how did this whole thing come about for you?
excuse me. Sure. So it would be. Well, let me back up a little bit before we get there.
Yeah,
So
okay.
as far as Run Disney, so I'd say 2010, kind of just picked up running as a hobby, just doing a little 5K, and I never ran. I mean, when I played little league baseball and stuff, and when I was a little kid, I played. But as far as like running for fun, I never did that. So just one of those things where it started off doing local 5Ks, just seeing if we could do it, and did that, and then that kind of led into, well, what else there is there. And I said, well, I don't really do the long distance stuff, so let's do triathlon. So we got into doing sprints, and one of those led to doing 20 plus, and that led to higher distances. And then fast forward to 2013, I did Ironman Florida, and so that's a whole other ball of wax to do that. But trained for that, did that, and then during that process, somebody said, well, hey, there's a marathon down at Disney. They're like, well, I don't. I said, well, that might be fun. I said, I'm already doing a marathon this year, so let's do one, down there. So it worked out. My first run at Disney was the 2013 marathon. Did that, and then
Wait,
after
wait,
that,
wait, wait. Can we clarify here? Is
yeah,
it just the marathon, as we
I
people in Disney like to
I
say?
I know, I hate when people say that. It's like, "Dude, you're doing a marathon. You don't think you understand," like and we'll get to the marathon topic later on, I'm sure we will, but, it just it was well, you know what, let me go back, Jody, before I get my words misconstrued. That was not my first run. My first run, I did several of the Expedition Everest races when they were at nighttime, and we did the last, wine and dine when it was at nighttime, and then it was shortened due to the thunderstorm. So then fast forward to the marathon, we did that, and then I did Ironman. And then after we did that, we heard the little rumblings of, hey, there's going to be a new challenge race for 2014. And what's that? Oh, it's the Dopey. What do you do there? Oh, you run 4 days. Okay. Yeah, why not? I mean, we've already done Ironman. Let's try this and see if it's any harder. It is by far, it is
I
way harder.
you said this, and I'm still trying to believe you that
Sure.
an Ironman, which is refresh my memory. How many miles is that? Can you tell me
So
this?
it's a 2.4 mile swim. It's a 112-mile bike, and then it's a marathon. And you got this to tick. I think 17 hours, or does it tick over 17 hours is the cap. We'll say 17. I
Oh,
did
that's
mine.
17 days. That's how long I would
That's
need.
that's
17
hours. That's
hours.
17 hours, and because I'm thrifty about stuff, I wanted to get my money's worth, so I did mine in 16, 24, and some change. It was miserable, but anyways, I got it done. So
Okay, so not that this is an Iron Man show, but I do have a question about it. So in Florida, where did you swim?
in the
Where was
Gulf.
okay?
In the Gulf. Now they have since some years past, they've since changed the venue. It's further down the strip. Panama City is like real touristy, so that a lot of people go there. A lot of hotels. They moved it further down to like the more popular area, I guess, to get more people. I have no idea, but nonetheless, it's still a Gulf swim. And at that time, the water temperature dictated we could wear a wetsuit. Um, I was going to wear a wetsuit regardless. I wasn't in contention, so I was like, I don't care if you disqualify me. I'm wearing, and I didn't get disqualified, but and that's where, with the whole swimming stuff, I could swim, but I wasn't an efficient swimmer. So my triathlon coach at the time was like, here's what you're going to do. And then when you get in a wetsuit, it brings your tail up, and it's good. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
it takes all day to answer your question. So
yeah. I can swim, but I'm also not an efficient swimmer.
sure.
My breathing, like I really would have to work with someone to get my breathing down. But
Oh yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
we're not going to sit here
Yeah.
and talk about triathlons, although I
Sure.
find it
No,
incredibly interesting
sure.
because it's such a challenge. And Caleb, not only can you forever say that you're a marathoner, you can actually say the very few words that very few people hear, I am an Ironman. Like
Yeah.
I love listening to people when they go across the finish line and that announcer say that because that's like gives me the goosebumps every time when
Oh,
they
sure. Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, go doing something for that long, consistent. We've run marathons, and that's tough. That's doing that is a feat. But doing an Ironman, when you get to the finish line, you have nothing left. There's no. So I was crying. It was just crying dust because I have nothing. There's nothing coming out. Just I mean, everything hurts. It's awful. Anyways, neither here nor there. But
okay, so you ran the Ironman and then that's when Dopey happened after that.
no, yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, it did because we did marathon 20 in January. Then fast forward to November, that's when Ironman was, and then after Ironman, the next January, that's when Dopey started. So
And just for reference, how crazy was it for registration back in those days? So you're talking 2014, right?
yeah,
That's
2014. It was the well. So here's the deal. That was the kind of the cool thing in 2014, from what I remember. it it wasn't too bad then. Like we all got in, and I think the typical fashion is you still had chaos as far as like the Run Disney website. But it was with Dopey. I don't think for the first couple of years it sold out that fast. I think that you like if you wanted to get on it in the morning you could, but you still had time in the afternoon to wait. So it wasn't that bad. The first, I'd say 2014, the first couple of years it wasn't that bad. What was bad, and we're not that to that point yet. What was bad is when the New Balance thing was coming out, and you had to sign up for that in addition. That was like the Wild West. That was crazy.
and
So
that was for the shoes.
yes, that was
Yeah.
for when New Balance had, they had the conjunction thing going on. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you've been at this for a while. So
Hmm.
2014, that's been a minute.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we I mean, I think people who know you know this, but why don't we let the cat out of the bag? Why out of all the names that I could give you and all the many, and I could come up with some funny ones. Why in our circle of friends are you known as Mr. Perfect?
Well, I guess because I've done all of them, and Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, I'll continue to do all of them. It's just something now at this point, like I've told, talk with you and talk with Tim before. I'm just stubborn, and at this point, I have so much money invested just in entry fees alone. Not on top of accommodations and food, but I have so much money invested in this. I'm not going to stop. I mean, if unless I'd have to, unless it's something that comes up out of thin air, that the good Lord doesn't want me to do it, then that's fine. But I mean, I enjoy it. Training sucks a lot of times. Like yesterday was bad. Your feet are tired, but I enjoy y'all's being around my friends and my running family that I see once a year in most cases. Because used to be I would run multiple events down there. Now I'm not concerned with really anything other than Dobie, just because it takes so much time and money. And I just like being in that little on top of running a marathon, that what the percentage of people only, a few percentage have done, of that. Then you get the dopies. There's only a handful of us that are still out there. And every year, y'all, like I told y'all, we always get that report like day of or the following week. Hey, XYZ amount of people didn't follow. So our dopey number goes from, real high to a little bit lower. And every year I'm just kind of like, yes, because I want to be there. I want to be the top 10, in the top five, waiting on it. So
I love it. So, do you happen to know that number right now? How many perfect dopies there? Do you
I
remember?
I think it's less than 536 right now. It's either for some reason 536 or 472-ish, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay, so
Rings a
somewhere
bell with me.
between 400, 500 people,
Yeah,
somewhere in that range.
that's it.
So
That's
that's
it.
still a lot of people. That's more than I would have guessed.
Sure,
I mean,
sure,
that's to do that training and to not have any issues come up and be able to be there every single January and go to the start line 4 days in a row and get to the finish line 4 days
sure.
in a row. Like that's a lot. I mean, you could have a
Yeah,
flight issue and
sure.
have a problem. I mean, there's a million things that could get in your way.
Sure. Well, and I think to take that factor out, that's why, the last several years I've just been driving, and I leave out in the middle of the night, traffic's next to nothing. And I drive through the night. When I get there, usually try to show up the Monday before to have a couple of days of relaxation just to kick back. But yeah, anything can happen. That's why usually in like, middle of November, December, we're not picking up any new hobbies. We're not going bungee jumping. We're not going to rock climb, anything like that. I mean, even like putting up Christmas lights. I'm not climbing a ladder. I don't like heights anyways, but we're not doing that. Anything can happen for my job. I build airplanes for a living. So we're always moving around and on the floor. But anytime there's anything to be lifted, don't call me. I'll help y'all in, January, February. I'm not, if it makes me sorry, it's fine, but you got to take care of your body. So, you know,
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. All right. So you have been at this running dopey since 2014.
yes,
How
ma'am.
did you find the running team, the Be Our Guest podcast lizards? How did you find them?
Yeah. So it was just one of those things, just like what I hear everybody else. At that time, podcasting was out, but it wasn't as big as it was. And it went from a thing of where just listening to like social radio and, all Disney music. And then, I just one day did a search for podcast. And then, I think the very first one I saw was like the dish with Lynn Testa and all that stuff, because they've been doing it forever. And then you just start doing searches for podcasts, and that came up, and then that led me to the Facebook group, and sent my thing to Mike Bankhead, and he took care of me, and then here we are. So I guess just by happenstance, I fell upon you guys. So
Not you guys. You've been a part of the group longer than I have. So I
oh,
felt like,
oh yeah, yeah,
I got into it much later than you did. So
right.
you're do you know your lizard number? I asked this last week to
I
Molly and Joe, and
what are we up to now? Are we is
we're in
what's
the well into the thousands, but
yeah, I think I'm seven something. Yeah, either six something or seven something, something like that.
yeah,
So I was a little late to the party, but anyways,
not that late. I mean,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
Well, let's talk some history here. Why don't we talk about one of your dopey challenge experiences that, you know, was uniquely special to you? And I'm not talking about last year. We'll talk about that later. But let's talk about an experience over these last, because now you've done 11,
12. Yeah,
12.
so yeah, yeah. Well,
12.
no, yeah, 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 12 because 13 is this coming year. So
Okay. Well, I
yeah,
didn't know because of the COVID year
yeah. We
what
still
happened.
count. We still count. I did that. Yeah, I did that one. So we still count that. So
Okay.
this is number
So
13
that's
coming up.
where things get like kind of confusing. Like that whole COVID year throw things off. I'm like, well, is
Well,
that a does that
well,
count?
then you have the race the year that the half was canceled, and before we even get into that, here's the deal. And we'll talk about this later. They tell me to run X amount of miles. If it's canceled for whatever reason, sorry, I gave it my shot. Everybody that goes back to your hotel and runs the rest, good on you. I ain't having it. Yeah, we're good. So
Okay, so I'm of the same philosophy as that. So that was it last year or the year before we ran half of the half. I can't
yep.
remember which year that was. I guess it
No,
was 2 years
no,
ago.
that was 20. You talking about 2017 when Donald was
No, no,
when
no.
the
It was I think it was 24. It was the year
okay,
that I did Goofy, not Dopey.
okay,
Anyway,
yeah,
that year when we did the half of the half, all those other people were running around the parking lot and
yeah.
doing their thing, and I'm like,
I'm not doing that. Yeah, sorry, I'm lazy. Yeah, we're
I
good.
like I trained for what I was supposed to do, and if you decided that that's not what I have to do, that I'm not going to go run the extra one.
That's
I'm
that's right.
I'm just not.
That's
Sorry.
right.
Totally happy not to. So why don't again, let's go back and you've got a lot to choose from here. I mean, that's a lot of different dopies. I mean, you've been with different groups throughout the time. Have you ever run any of them all by yourself?
Honestly, the only time I did, because with life changes, life brings you, different outfits, they say. And
Mhm.
for many years I wore a certain outfit, and then, at a certain point I stopped. So yeah, there was one year that I ran. I want to say it was 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. I think I ran majority of it by myself. But there's, so many lizards on the course. You kind of, hey, can I run with you for a little while or whatever. So yeah, maybe one year, but for the most part, I've always been running with a person or a group. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the way I like. I mean, Tim and I, our very first dopey, we ran pretty much by ourselves because we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know how we were going to feel and how we wanted to get through it. So it was just the
right.
two of us. And then the next year that changed all up. And I was like, that's the way to do it. Friends make it so much better.
Oh
Not that I
sure,
don't love my
yeah.
husband. He's great. And he's great to spend time with, but it's nice to have other people who you've never heard their stories and
Well,
new
well,
things to talk.
we will get to that in a minute, and we will build on that last statement as far as running with people. Now, please continue.
Well, I know. I was just saying, out of all your memories, is there anything that kind of jumps out to you? Like there was just
You
a moment that you were like, this
get
is awesome, or this is awful, or somewhere in between.
100%. So I'd say the first year, 2014, because nobody really knew what was going on. Of what we were going to be expected to do, and everything was new for Disney there, or for Run Disney there too. Like now they take your picture at the expo and you're good to go. Well, then at that time, they made us wear these different plastic bands like you were going to like a nightclub or something. Like for admit, and it was crazy. Like that first year, we did that for 2 or 3 years. I think the first year I had like it was I think 4 or 6 of them, and then they would loop them around, and you'd have like these shards of plastic, so you had to leave them on weekend, and then so you'd be showering, doing your business. Well, these little shards, it was like taking a shower, Freddy Krueger. Like you would get, you know what I mean? It was awful. But not just that, but and then the way the process was because then like when you were done with the race, you had to go to get your medals, and they verified your picture, and then you had to go to another area. And it was crazy. But the biggest thing is which we still would deal with today is the waking up.
Yeah,
Nobody knew about that. It's like you get up early for work, whatever. Well, times about four, and then like last year, it progressively started getting earlier and earlier. So first year that was a big thing. You could not train for that. It's like,
yeah.
hey, you got to get up this early. Okay. Well, the first day you're like, oh, I'm pumped up. This is good. By like day three, I was like, bruh, this is we're struggling. This is awful. You know what I mean? And you're not that you're, boozing it up at Disney, but you get up that early, you feel like you're hung over because you should not be. Your system's like, nah, I'm gonna stay in bed. You're like, we got to go do this.
Yeah.
So
Even when you try to go to bed early, I I I feel like I do a pretty good job on marathon weekend of getting myself to bed early, but
sure,
it's the 4 days in a row, and sometimes your body's just like, "Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't normally go to bed at 8:30 PM, so I
sure.
can't go to bed at 8:30 PM. I know you want me to go to bed at 8:30 PM, then you sit there and you stare at the ceiling, and then you,
You're
like,
doing a lot of
you
this.
know,
You're going,
you're freaking out, like, "Do I have all my fuel? Do I have my running shoes? Did I know I packed my running shoes? Oh, wait, don't do I have them or do I not have them?" Like, you begin to play mind tricks with yourself.
sure.
Last night, I had a dream that Tim walked downstairs in our house and unplugged our deep freezer. I you wanna
It
make
makes sense. It
you
makes
wanna
sense
make
to
a bet
me.
this morning, I went out to the garage to make sure the deep freezer was still plugged in. I was like,
Yeah.
Why did I dream that? I don't know, but
Oh
it's
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
those things that your mind just plays some weird tricks on you.
Sure, sure.
So
But so to answer your question, I'd say first year is other than this past year, the first year was probably the biggest year that stuck out just because of the newness of it and how, what we didn't know what to expect. You're like, all right, well, we know we're running, but we didn't, the buses were different. And, way back then, you had to stay at a resort that was a Run Disney weekend resort, because then at that time, they all were not. Now they all are. So you had to, it was just a whole thing. Everything was new, and you just had to kind of, well, just see how this works. So
so that was one of the questions that I was gonna ask you. Now, like you said, you can stay at any Walt Disney World resort, or you could even stay off property. I think that would be a lot to have to manage. I personally wouldn't choose to do that on a race weekend, but people do.
sure.
Um, do you remember those first couple years when you had to stay at a certain resort, which resorts you stayed at?
Yeah, so for the most part, we always stayed at beach club or yacht club, and or we stayed at Wilderness a couple times, um, and then I think we even stayed at like Port Orleans a few times. But there'd be like, well, we want to stay at wherever, and you're like, oh, you can't. And, okay, well, if you do, what do you got to do? Well, you got to get up earlier, and you got to take you either got a Uber or whatever. You got to take a taxi cab from there. It's like, forget that business. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was way big hassle back then as far as like where you were going to stay at. So
Yeah. I know, people say sometimes the buses, they get lost or they don't do the great. I think the buses are phenomenal. Like
sure.
I mean, for the most part, they get you there. Now, there was one year I feel like there were some hiccups along the way. I can't remember
Hmm.
which year that was, but for the most part, I think that they do a really good job.
Oh yeah.
So, what is your resort of choice? Where do you prefer to stay? Now that you could stay at any of them,
Yeah. So honest to
we'll talk
Pete, I
about
mean,
what you like, and then if you like had all the money in the world, where would you stay?
sure. So the first question or yeah, first response is I stay at Pop. I love it, especially with the way they do it, and I forget the lady's name that's always there at Pop.
Myra.
Yeah, Myra. She's sometimes she's a little over the top, but her energy is next
She's
level.
good. Yep.
Uh, so I just love it. There, everything's close, everything's right there. But I will tell you, I told Ben this year, I was like, dude, listen, whatever we got to do, I need a ground floor room. I was like, I'm not walking upstairs, or I'm not doing that. So I said, give me. He's like, all right, I got you. I said, I don't care. I'm not worried about getting robbed at Disney. We're good. But if money was not an issue, it would either be club level at yacht and or beach, club at Poly, or club at Wilderness. That's
You know,
that's my favorite.
but club level, there's all that food and you get drinks and all
Yeah,
that stuff, and
yeah.
are you able to do any of that during race weekend? I
We
just
paid for it. I'm about to get turned up and go run. Watch. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "I'll figure it out. I'll
Well,
figure it out."
and then you look at it, and you're like, how much it costs for club? I'm like, nah, man, I can just go back, a six pack of beer. It's way, even if you're paying Disney price, it's still way cheaper.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I have
that's why we
never
stay at
stayed
Pop now.
I've never stayed club, and for the longest time, Tim didn't even know it was in existence. I had
Sure.
never because I'm like, "I'm not telling him about this," like, it's
Yeah.
and he's like, "What are you talking about? What's club level?" And I was like, "Oh, it's schmancy and fancy, and you get all this stuff," and he's like, "How come I've never heard of this?" I'm like, "'Cause your wife has purposely not informed you about
Yeah.
this." Like,
I
it's
wouldn't. I wouldn't because I think he might be the type of guy that would dig it, and I get it. But
yeah.
the thing is, you have to eat a lot of small plates to make it. I mean, like whatever they're having, you got to eat a lot. I'm getting my money's worth out of this place. It's good, but I think food wise, like the Poly, I've stayed there twice, and it's awesome as far as
Yeah.
like their food offerings. So
Listen, Captain Cook's is phenomenal. I have not tried the new Wailea bar and
Okay.
restaurant. I'm anxious to try it. I hear it's supposed to be really, really good. So I'm hoping to get over there at some point in time. We'll see. We'll see.
I like that old school feeling, it's like real, like the boys are coming back from war feeling. It's got that Hawaii. I dig all that. It's really neat. I hate that they put that tower over there, but I get why they did.
Mhm.
We did stay one night at one point. We stayed in the bungalows, just to say we did. It's not worth it because what they don't tell you is it's got that big like water pump thing in the middle of the house. You don't see it, but you hear it. It kicks on all throughout the night. And then, at 6 or whenever the ferries start running, they let you know. And it's so super cool. I'm not saying that. It's not like, oh God, it sucks. If you get a trip to do that, go. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I like the main house. All that stuff is better. So
Yeah. I like a good night's sleep. And if something's waking me up every couple of hours, turning the
yeah,
water and those horns would absolutely wake me up. I'd be like,
sure,
they're
sure.
here. It's 6 a.m.
Yeah, you're like, I got it, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, big fan of pop also. I think one of the reasons, and we've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast, but just the fact that the buses only go from pop and only go to the races. They
Sure.
don't go to other resorts. You're not sharing resorts. I was saying that I had to go to Wilderness Lodge, and I was coming from the expo, and no, I was trying to get to the Contemporary for the meetup, and it shared with Wilderness Lodge, but it also shared with the campgrounds.
Oh,
So
it's
like
terrible. It's terrible.
it's like it was like over an hour
Yeah,
to get from the expo back to the Contemporary, and I'm like, man, you are paying so much money to stay at
sure.
this high end resort, and it's taking forever. Pop, there's a bus takes you right to Pop,
The,
right back.
there is, and that's the thing. I can remember years ago. I forget what year it was, but we were at Wilderness, and Wilderness is great because they still got the Christmas decorations stuff. But anyways, there was like one bus and we just missed it, and it was almost like a good 30 minutes for another bus came. There was some type of issue, and we made it, and that was marathon day. I was like, bro, what are y'all doing? But they got, but back to Pop. I mean, honestly, for the last 3 4 years there's not just one bus, there's tens of buses, and
Yeah,
it's like, they just roll it. So they do a good job over there. So
yeah,
I like it.
yeah. It's definitely a runner's favorite. It's not
Sure.
fancy. You're
No,
just there to sleep. It's got
that's
that
it.
great bagel sandwich that I
It
love.
does.
I
That's
mean,
it.
everyone makes fun of Tim and I, like, we're the only people who probably left the Riviera for breakfast to go over to
I
Pop for
get it.
breakfast because that something about it's like that fake American cheese that just melts perfectly over a slab of
Sure.
bacon and some eggs on a plain bagel sandwich, all
Well,
melted and gooey
it's
together.
just real hearty, and it's real what I need right
Yeah,
now. It's
exactly.
fantastic. You don't eat it every day, you'd be 400 pounds, but yes, it's good
Yeah,
in the moment. So
yep. It's but, if you're doing dopey, you can do some stuff
sure.
like that. So,
Well, one thing I'll tell you about the beds, or Pop too, is over the last several years when they did the refurbs on the room, the beds are nice. They're not like contemporary or not Grand Floridian, because Grand Floridian has the most comfortable beds on the planet. Not just, I mean, they're awesome. Anyway, but they're really good at Pop. Over the last several years since they've changed them, so it's good.
so the beds may be good at Grand Floridian, but you can also hear your next door neighbor having a conversation like this at Grand Floridian,
Sure.
which shocked me because I was like, dude, I can hear everything they were
Oh,
saying in the room next to us. This like, why is there no extra, padding in the walls? Because I can
sure,
hear their entire conversation. So
sure.
that was a
I,
little surprising to me, But
yeah.
anyway, yeah, I actually think the Disney beds are great. So it's funny. So marathon weekend, probably telling you too, about my relationship with my husband, but we actually sleep in separate beds for marathon weekend because
Sure.
you just want to get a really good night's sleep. You don't want someone to accidentally roll over and bump into you and bother you. So I tend to do the pull down bed, and I think
The
it's
Murphy bed deal.
yeah, the Murphy bed at Pop, it's comfortable as can be. Doesn't bother
Sure,
me at all. I
sure.
like it. So and that way I can starfish in the bed and not have to worry about
You can make shapes, as I
yeah,
say.
do whatever I
Yeah,
want. So
yeah. It's cool. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
all right. So weather-wise, you've had everything from blazing heat
It's
to
almost
pouring
tornadoes.
rain to I don't know. Didn't you guys had a hurricane warning one year? You've had all sorts of stuff.
We had severe thunderstorm warning, but I think they had downplayed it. I think it was there was some type of tornadic event close by, and I was like, "What are we gonna do here?" And they're like, "Oh, you're good. You're fine. Okay, whatever." Yeah, we've ran the gambit on weather.
Yeah. And that's the thing that, everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to Florida in January. It must be so nice." I'm like, You never know."
Mm-mm.
So what are some tips that if somebody was doing their first marathon or any Run Disney weekend, really, what are some tips that you would say to prepare for the challenges of the fluctuation in the weather in Florida?
Sure. So primarily, let's talk strictly just for marathon weekend. No matter what race you're doing down there, wherever you're coming from around the country and or across the pond, wherever you're coming from, bring every piece of clothing that you have to run in. Bring your longs, bring your short, bring whatever you need. Even if you don't have room, make it fit. Do something. Bring it. The good thing is that within 15 minutes of property, there is a Walmart, so you can get extra stuff. But don't put yourself in that situation. If you think you're gonna need it, you need it. Bring everything you've got because you might not need it, but just have it on retainer, as they would say.
Mhm.
Ask me how I know this. So
And what's the one that I forget which year it was. We ran into you in the corral, and
mhm.
I think this is back still when we had to walk the million miles to go to the
Yeah,
start line, but
yep,
and in the wet grass, which always used to make me so mad. I'm like, I don't want to walk in wet
it's terrible.
grass, getting my shoes wet before the race. Like, so
Yep.
I do thank you, Run Disney, for changing the start line and not making us do that
Oh
anymore.
yeah.
Walking 5 miles to get to the start. Appreciate that. But what do you remember what you had? I don't know if you do this every race or if you just did it that year.
You talking about the blue smocks that I got from the hospital? Is
Well,
that
nope, not those. You had a cushion to sit on, like a little pillow.
Oh yeah. So, okay. So I had that. I had them this year, but I forgot about them. So everybody was making fun of me. Let me tell you what sucks in the early morning. Sitting on that asphalt, like we used to have to. It was. I mean, we still do it now in the crowd, but you know what I'm saying. After you walked 18 miles to get there, yeah. So we had a cushion, and I bought them off of Amazon. They were like the little, like sports. If you're going to a football game, they were the cheapest thing I could find. But they were great. They had like little gel memory foam thing. My bunkie was on point. We were sitting
Yeah.
down. It was fantastic. So
Listen, it was a smart move. I was like, this is an experienced runner. He knows what he's doing.
yeah.
He's got a that I was a brownie and a Girl Scout way back in the days, and we made these things called sit-a-pons. And
Yep.
they were these like pleather type things with cushion in them, and you learned how to sew them
Oh yeah.
together. Yeah, a
Sure.
sit-a-pon. I'm like, yeah, Caleb had a sit-a-pon. He was
I
the
I
smart.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, and like I say, I did it 2 years running. Then I haven't used them in a couple of years. And this past year, I bought some new ones that like you inflate, you blow them up. I left them at the house. I forgot. They'll be with me next year though. Believe that. So
Yeah. Well, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
If I just thought it was quite so one of the tricks that I've learned that I try to go to the thrift store and grab either sweatshirts but the one if I can find them robes.
Oh yeah.
Robes are awesome because you can just snuggle up in them
Sure.
and then you can just strip them right off. You don't have to pull them over your head and knock off any of your stuff. And
I tell you another thing that really works good. You get them on Amazon. They make knockoff Snuggies. It's fantastic. So, and they have like this other thing. It's called like all day pajamas. It's the same type of thing. They have the knockoffs on Amazon. They're fantastic. They got all kinds of patterns and colors and all, but it wraps you. It swaddles you, Jody. I know that word. That's swat.
you
They're fantastic.
do.
Yeah, we'll get to the swaddle story in a little while. But anyway, yes.
So, have you ever seen or experienced? No, I know you've experienced. Have you ever seen any situation with another runner that has really inspired you or affected you or impacted you that you were like, wow, man, that's cool. That's deep. That's whatever.
Yes. So, the two that come to mind is every year, Woody, is in the push cart, and I think Bob from Rise and Run partakes in pushing him along. That's super cool. I mean, that's beyond because Woody's having the time of his life, and then there's also another gentleman. I don't remember his name, but he's a double amputee, and I think he was in the ring. He was in some branch of the armed forces, and doing it double amputee, and he has a guide with him. That's I mean, running's tough enough with the two good legs that I have. I couldn't imagine doing that with two artificials. But he gets it done every year. It's
Yeah,
crazy. So
that's
uh,
amazing.
yeah. And then there's the one lady that has I think it's Australian Shepherd that she always dresses him up like hey hey, and he runs beside her the whole length of the marathon. That's pretty neat. I like that too.
Yeah,
So
that's a dog who can go the distance. That's a long
Oh,
way to go. Yeah.
absolutely,
My
absolutely.
golden would be like, "What are we doing, mom? Like 3
Yeah,
miles is my tops. I don't wanna
right,
go
we're
anymore."
done. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, it's and of course there's been many events that I've seen that has just made me just shake my head at people not acting grown. And it's yeah, that's everywhere. But yeah, there's been several instances on that. I'm like, guys, what are y'all doing? This is so silly. There's no money involved in this as far as you're not gonna get any money for in the D corral, you're not gonna get any prize money. Believe that. So
Yeah. And, even not regular, non-Disney races, people get all crazy and serious about
sure.
stuff. I'm still like, "Wait, you're not winning. If you're by
No.
me, you're not winning." I
Well,
mean,
that's the thing, and I don't mean that as a downplay to you or me, but if you're near me, bruh, we're gonna get a T-shirt and maybe a beer and maybe a banana.
yeah.
That's it. You
And
know what I mean?
we're gonna have stories to tell and memories made
Sure.
and proud of our accomplishments. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's no
I
need to
just,
act goofy out there. People, no pun intended with the goofy, but I mean, seriously, people get all weird. I mean,
well, and the thing is with me too. I mean, y'all been around me on a personal level. I do have a mouth on. I'll let four-letter words fly. But however, when you're in that environment, it's like, man, you kind of need to read the room. Maybe just out of respect, just yeah, but I've heard of on the course, people get in it, and I've seen twice people get in knockdown, drag out fights. Y'all have at it. So, anyways,
that's
yeah,
insane.
yep,
That's insane. That's
absolutely.
I just read that there was a fight at Alani at the beach. Like 2 families got into it. One family said that the other family moved their stuff. I was like, "Oh my gosh.
That's
Like,
classy with a K right there. I
what
like
are we
that.
doing,
That's just
people? Like, your family's there. This is your vacation. You've probably saved a lot of money to get here, and that's how you're gonna act. Like,
this is-
just whew,
well,
people.
you can learn to run, but I guess you can't learn morals and couth.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and listen,
apparently those people can.
there are times when everybody gets a little upset or ruffled, but for the most part, I have found Disney races people to be pretty respectful. Like, if, for the most
Sure.
part, you're
Yeah.
always going to get somebody that's a little goofy here and there, but
Sure.
I, I the only time that I was a little disappointed is I was running Princess by myself one year. It was the half marathon, and I would start jogging with some ladies and try to talk with them. They just wanted nothing to do with me, and that happened like once or twice on the course. I'm like, never mind. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna make any friends today. Nobody wants to be my friend. That's okay. I'm just gonna
Sure.
keep running and get it done.
Well, and it's sad too because you see that, and then you're like, well, man, if y'all just jump on with like the ducks or jump on with the lizards, it's like, guys, everybody's real welcoming and inviting, and there's so many personalities. I bet you bottom dollar you're gonna find somebody that you'll click with. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Dollar to a donut, but I don't,
yeah, yeah.
So
All right, so let's talk about the 10-year anniversary of Dope and how you got your name and how we like to tease you and all the wonderful swag that you got. So, for those of you who don't know, if you are a perfect dopey runner, and this may be the case for all the races, if you're perfect, I don't know. But you get some extra special treatment. First of all, what I think is the best is you don't have to spend registration day stressed out with the rest of us, right? That to me,
Oh yeah, well, no, yeah. I'm sorry, I knew you asked. I was shut off my fancy lunchbox. I don't know if you've heard anything about this, but it's fancy.
we're going to talk about
You-
the lunchbox, but
okay, I'm sorry.
so I would
Anyways,
say the best thing is you don't have to you get an early registration link, right? So you
yeah.
don't
So just kind of like how the Club Run Disney people get, and somebody else gets. Oh, Vacation Club. Y'all, I think they get in early. Do you not? Okay, well, this is Club Run Disney. They get a link a week early, so and it's good for 7 days. It's good from and you'd be surprised how many people do forget to use their link by that Sunday, and then you have to call or email Run Disney and pull a rabbit out of your butt, and finally you'll get registered. But yeah, but all that crap, the Mad Max and Beyond Thunderdome day, I call it registration day. We don't have to do that anymore, which is cool. I if I had any, well, I'll save my opinions for later. But yes, that is a fantastic perk of being perfect dopey. If I can say one good thing.
and so for your big 10-year anniversary, for those who can't see the show, because a lot of people listen to us,
Yeah.
what exactly did you get that we love teasing you about? You
Yeah.
got
So So here's the deal. So that year was kind of like a retro theme. So they brought back, the themes were all like retro Disney stuff. And so that year is a perfect dopey. They gave us a tin, like an old school tin, a lunchbox, which that's kind of cool. That's neat. And I thought that inside the tin they were going to give us like a jacket or something, like that. Well, they didn't. They gave us a hat that said 48.6 on the front and it had like run perfect dopey on the back or something. And they gave us two fancy pants sugar cookies with icing on it with the Run Disney insignia. And then I think they gave us a OtterBox gift card, which mine expired because I forgot I had it. Um, it's a lunchbox. It's more tchotchke for the house. I got plenty of tchotchke. I tell you what, I do like jackets. That this Joe, you're trying to get me fired up because this still I get mad as 400 hex thinking about it. I don't know. I don't. In
I think
talking
it was
with
an interesting choice, and I know that was
sure,
the 80s or 90s or whatever decade I think they were supposed to be. They said it was the 90s, but it felt more 80s to me.
yeah,
Um, I think they were trying to be unique,
yeah.
but I, I mean, what are you going to do with it, right?
Well,
Like,
I moved it because normally, like, it's on top of my computer right here because it's cool for effect. But normally, it just sits over like on my running side. It has dust on top of it. You can even see it. I mean, and I would never sell it or something like that. I mean, I hope to always have it. And it's like, guys, I appreciate it, but it's like really that year, the link just means more to me than that doggone lunchbox.
yeah.
So,
And for
yeah.
10 years, I thought it would have been something really incredible. But it did give us really great fuel to tease
Well,
you.
that's good. I'm glad that my pain helped y'all. That's what I'm here for. You know what I mean? I'm dying inside, but I'm glad everybody's having a good time. It's good. So,
It was great. It was great to be able to tease you about your lunchbox. So,
yeah.
which we still tease you about the
Hey,
lunchbox.
but I'm hopeful that year 15, we're gonna do jackets or rings or something. Bring it on. We'll see
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I think there's got to be something cool that they can do. I don't
Help
know.
me, help me,
I
Disney. Y'all
don't
got
know.
all kinds of money. Help us out. Help us out.
All right. So you're obviously registered for this year's race. So this year being the January 2026 is
Yeah,
this upcoming year.
yeah.
How's training been going for you? Because we're on what, week 11, 12, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, my schedule's in the living room. Yeah, it's going good. I had a half marathon several weeks back that I'd signed up for like months ago, and I was going to use it as part of the training. And I was like, well, it's a flat course, so I'll go out there. And I ran a really good PR last year during the half, but I was like, maybe I can run this faster and have a PR just in the bank. And Jody, it just you train for it. And I went out there, and I normally do intervals. Well, I went out there straight running, and by about mile 4, I was getting kind of gassed. I was like, all right, let me back. I looked down, I was running like an 8:50. I was like, that's not. I got to slow down. So then I went, doing 9:30. Then I slowed into a 10:15. And by mile 5.5, I was struggling. I started doing intervals, but I was struggling. And then mile 6, the bottom fell out, and it was lightning and stuff. I mean, it was awful. Anything, Run Disney, they're real good about that. As far as they would have cut us off, but this was local. They were just going to let us keep going. And I called my fiance. I said, "Hey, just meet me at the car. I'm done. I can't. I'm not going to die for this." Because the lightning was so close, you could kind of feel it in your teeth. And I was like, "I'm
Ooh,
out. I'm
no.
done." So I DNF. That was my first and only DNF. But that's neither here nor there. That was Mother Nature. I'll take that. As far as the normal training that we've have on I do the Galloway training program. It's been going good. I've missed a couple during the week runs just because of work and life and all that. But as far as my long runs, I've been hitting those pretty consistent. I think there was 11 this week, and I did like 10.6 because due to a new mountain bike I got a couple of days ago, I was sore, so I was like 10.6 is good enough. We're good.
That,
I'm
that's pretty gosh darn close.
yeah, and well, and just like everything else too, Jody, that everybody else is dealing with, the heat and the humidity, it's been flipping terrible. I mean, I've lived in Georgia my whole life. It's been awful this year. You'll go out here, it'll be 97. Real feel is 106. Me and my fiance tried to run in it one day. You can't do anything. It's awful. We got a mile away from the house. I said, look, we're going to pass out. It's awful. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you're wearing, an oxygen mask with no opening. So,
It's when you feel like you're trying to swim through the air
oh,
because it's so dense. The humidity is just it's so thick. You can't,
Yeah.
it's, pea soup. You're running through pea soup.
Yeah.
It is,
Actually, that's exactly what it is. Run through pea soup. As nasty as pea soup. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, for instance, I've never. Molly had brought up weeks ago about chafing on the weekly, post on the lizard. I've never really, knock on wood, dealt with chafing, but this year, due to humidity, my clothes, I get a half mile in, and looks like I jumped in the swimming pool. I'm soaked.
mhm.
So, if you're on a, long run, unless you're changing, you're gonna start getting, some rubbage in area. And I've been doing it this year, so we get through it, but it's awful. It's
Yeah.
been so as far as that's been terrible. The runs have been good, but the temps have not been good up until the last 2 weeks. They're starting to get right, but I don't want to be too cold, because too cold is bad, but it's getting cooler. So
Southern boy does not like to be cold. We all know that.
yes,
So have you ever done any other training plan besides the Galloway one? Have you tried I can't even think of the other two names. They start with H.
yeah. You talking about the Higdon?
Higdon and there's
I,
another one too.
I looked at the Higdon one time, and then I looked at it, and moved on. I was like, yeah, that's too much. Bro, you were doing way too much, man. But a lot of people love it. For me, I kind of liked. I was apprehensive about the run walk stuff years ago. Now I swear by it, and it is what works for me. You know what I mean? A lot of people might hate it, but I love it. So yeah, no, I've just pretty much been a Galloway fan since day one.
And that's the thing. You find out what works for you and you go with it. And there's different plans, different programs, and different training, and you kind of figure out what you like and you go for it. So
Sure,
no
absolutely,
no right way to do it. Or wrong
sure,
way. It's you just figure out your way. That's
yep,
what works. So
absolutely.
all right. So you want to talk about some special moments, some memorable moments of some of your dopey experiences?
Do those, you mean the ones that involve y'all?
I mean, you can tell whatever story you want. This is story time with Caleb. I'm
Yeah.
just,
So, well, the cool thing that gets me before we get to that. So the cool thing that I still like is, and I pay attention to it because obviously on our bibs now. Oh, that's the other thing perk we get is is that our bibs it says perfect right there. It says right there. That's good. It's an expensive bib that's a lot of money for the font. You know what I mean? Um, Not ungrateful. I love it. But yeah, I do like the fact of when somebody sees you're perfect, they're like, oh, you're perfect. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like, well, yeah, but it's a big deal. It's cool. I like it.
it is a very big deal. There's not a lot of you. I mean, there's not.
Yeah, I like that, and I really like how, as far as moments, there's been multiple ones, but the big ones that I always see is like you can tell like when people are really nervous, doing their first 5K to whatever, and you can look in these people's eyes and they're about to, get sick or and I like how you'll see a random stranger come up to these people like, come on, we got you. Not just our group, but just, random people I don't know. I've really liked that over the years of seeing the camaraderie that the running group. Come on, come on, guys, come on, let's go. I like that, and it's real touching. That's really cool. So,
Yeah, I think that's one of Gene's specialties. He's really good at finding people on the course and bringing them along and
oh,
finding
sure,
finding strays and having them
yeah,
join the group. Gene's really, really good at that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I've tried before with some. I mean, we've picked up some people, but sometimes people are like, I want to be on my own. And I mean, again, it's your race. You do what is good for you. No one has to, you don't have to run with people. You can if you want, but if you get asked to join somebody and it's not your thing, you can say, see you later, or you could join for a mile and go.
sure,
I mean, you don't, I think a lot of times people think like, oh, if I say I'm going to join, I'm going to be quote unquote stuck with them for the rest of the race. No, I mean, go for a half mile and then say, see, I'm going to go do whatever, or I'm going to go, there's no rule that you have to stay with
sure,
people the whole time,
sure.
unless you've made some like prearranged pack, like we're not leaving,
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want to do that and just leave somebody. You don't want to Shanghai somebody. That would be terrible. But yes, I
and
agree
I
with
just
you.
say for me, a lot of times it's me and a bunch of guys. And so,
Yep,
I'll say to them, hey, I have to use the ladies' room and there's normally a line and it takes a little bit longer because I'm a lady. So if you're going to have to wait for me. So,
sure,
it's like, it's always kind of sorry guys, it's just Just one of the things happens when you run with a woman on one of these races. You gotta wait, got a little more patient when it comes to the bathroom
I
situation.
know, but the cool thing about that is that we get to wait and we don't have to run. It's great.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
great.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways, so
So I love like like I said, our very first Dopey, we pretty much did it by ourselves, and that was I don't ever want to do that again. Not that I don't love my husband, I love him dearly, and he's fantastic, but it's fun to run with other people and to experience it with other people, and I've been blessed to be able to do that the last couple races.
right.
Um, and that to me, what makes the memories and what makes the moment special because you're talking with people and your time goes fast and I mean, it's still hard. It's not like you're out there, having a picnic, but it makes the whole experience something that you crave and want to do again, as opposed
Sure.
to like, I have to do this. It's I want to do this because you have those memories and those special things. So
Sure.
now are you ready to talk about any of your favorite memories?
I'm ready. So
I'm
let's
sure
just get
you've
it
got
on
a lot of them. It's story time with Caleb.
yeah. So the honest to Pete, I mean, once uh up until this year, I'd only ridden Everest one time during the marathon because I was like, the party I was with then, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. And they're like, it's going to work. So I did it and then it still worked, but I was still freaked out. I was like, oh my God, balloon ladies are coming. But anytime I see the balloon ladies, I'm like, oh my God, they're hours behind you. But I still, you know what I mean? When you used to have to go through the dreaded ESPN, you'd see them like, oh God, they're going to catch us. They weren't. But anyway, yeah. So rode Everest the one year, many years ago. That was a blast. But this past year was
But
probably
hold
go
on,
ahead.
I'm going to cut you off about a balloon lady story with Dave. So, Dave, I hope you're listening, and I hope you don't care that I'm telling the story. So, this was 2023. This was the year of your Mr. Perfect, right? So,
Mhm.
this was, and I'd never met Dave before. I'd never run with him, and it was his very first marathon ever was in
Right,
Dopey, and he's pretty freaked out about the balloon ladies, and we're in like corral A or B, okay, and we're doing we're not again, we're not going to win, but we're doing a decent pace. And he's just freaking out about the balloon ladies. Just, oh my gosh, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? And I'm like, we're fine. We're totally fine. Like, so we were coming out. This is back when the course ran normal. We
yeah,
were running out of Magic Kingdom. And when we were coming back, so we were all the way, we were what, at mile 7 or 8 by then? I don't know what it was. We saw the balloon ladies heading towards Magic Kingdom. They hadn't even gotten there yet. So we could see them across the highway. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you
yeah.
could see,
Oh yeah.
I'm
I
like,
know
Dave,
exactly what you.
do you see like we are okay? And I think it was that point in time that he was like, okay, we're okay. I'm like, I promise you we're okay now. Like
Sure.
so it was like, I think until that moment, he just, because you just think that they're right behind you. And
Right.
and for me, everyone's like, well, why do you train hard outside of the season? Well, it's because I want a good corral placement so I can get some buffer time so I can go do the things on that race that I want to do. I want to goof off. I want
Right.
to see the characters. I want to eat the piece of chocolate. I want to take pictures with the bands and I want to, I don't want to be worried about having to go to the bathroom. If I want to go to the bathroom, I want to go to the bathroom. Like I want
Sure.
that buffer
Sure.
time. So that's why I work hard to get a good proof of time so then I can go do all those fun
Oh
things.
yeah.
To me, that's what the race is all about. But
Right.
it's and the Bloom ladies are lovely people. I've heard their interview on Rise and Run a bunch of
Sure.
times. They're great people, and they're not gonna, it's not like,
They're
Freddie
like, what are
Krueger's
you doing? Get off the course.
yeah, like
Yeah.
they're not. It's not a horror movie, but it is scary. I mean,
Right.
you do have that fear of where are they? Are they close? Am I going to get swept? And
Sure.
no matter what, there you still have it. You still have it in the back of your mind.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah. Mm.
back to so you've ridden Everest. So you did it. Do you remember which year you did it for the first time?
I
Early in the
think
year.
Yeah, I think it was the year. No, I think no, no, no. I think it was the year that the half was canceled due to bad weather. So we started on fresh legs. Technically on fresh legs because we didn't have that half. I think it was that year, if my memory serves me, because it was several different people. But yeah, it was neat. It was fun. I just and just like this year, I got off, my legs were jello, and I'm like, oh God, this is. And I think, and back then, I think I was like, I'm never doing that again. That's stupid. This year, hold my beer. So
You get some darn people from Ohio that tell you it's a good idea.
Darn people. Oh boy, that's so much fun. That's good. Yeah. So do we want to get into that now?
It's your story to tell, not mine.
Okay. So this past year, I'd made a goal for myself. I was feeling good. The training had been going good, and I had said, for the first, I originally started. I was going to do the 5K and the half. I was going to run those straight run, and then the 10K and the full marathon. I was just gonna just chill back, do my intervals and all that. Well, I met with George Reeves and his wife Taylor a couple nights before, and we were talking over at Disney Springs, and he was like, "Well, man, I'll be out there with you." And due to some issues with the corral placement, I ended up in Corral A. Okay, I had Corral A for all weekend. Okay, so starting in Corral A, what you do get a whole lot of fast people that as soon as you start, they're gone. But also, what you get is clean air. Okay. So 5K, 5K is just more fun than anything. Everybody goes and cuts up. But I ran it pretty good for me. I was well under 30 minutes. I was like, all right, cool. And I felt great. And then 10K day, same thing. I was, not too much over an hour. I was like, man, this is fan. All right, cool. So I just kept the moment. I brought my inflatable compression boots with me, so I was doing my recovery in the hotel room, and I was feeling great. Then half marathon, same thing. I was like, man, I feel so much. This is so awesome. And I think I did like a 221 or 222 on the half. So I was like, that's really good for me. Yeah, I was like, that's great. So then I was like, you know what? On marathon day, heck with it, I'm gonna do the same thing. Well, what it was that A Corral fake confidence that I forgot that I don't have as far as talent. And we started out, it was super duper cold. It was awful. And we got to running it, and I got about to mile 8 or so. It's the road that goes almost to Contemporary, or no, to the Poly, before we should go through TTA and all that stuff. There was those porta potties, and I had an urge. I was like, I gotta go. I never have to go. I got to go. So I stopped in there and handled business, and then I got done, and I come back out, and I started running. I got about almost to TTA, and I remember I don't have any gloves on. Oh crap! I left them in the porta potty. I was like, oh no, and I had no other glove, and I didn't have enough clothes. I had long clothes on, but they were just thin, and the wind was whipping that morning. It was terrible.
And it's,
And
we're starting before the sun's up. This is
sure,
start at 4:30 in the morning. So the first 2 hours, there's no sunlight. I mean, it's dark.
no, there wasn't. And then the wind was, I think that morning it was like in the 40s or something like that. And the wind was blowing. It was just terrible. So I got through TTA and I was struggling, but I got on to Main Street and I was feeling okay. You kind of got rejuvenated. And I think I had seen the 330 or 335 pace went by, and I was like, well, let me see if I can hang on with it. I lasted with them for about a minute and a half. I was like, I can't do this. This is crazy. And anyways, go through Magic Kingdom, and as I'm leaving Magic Kingdom, George had caught up to me, and he said, he's super fast, and he said, well, hey, how you doing? I said, man, I think I think I'm done. He was like, wait, what? What do you mean you're done? I was like, yeah, like I'm done. He was like, well, but you're perfect. I was like, yeah, that's okay. I'm good with it. I said, man, I got a lot going on next year. I'm good. I'm gonna get to the next. He said, we gonna quit now? I was like, no. I said, where's the next aid station? He's like, I think there's one up here at 13. And I said, well, I just stopped there. And I was like, cool. So I ran on up and got to the aid station. And that's what Jordan, he said, well, man, I can't tell you yes or no. He said, you got to do what feels good for you. He said, I'll stick behind you, whatever you decide. I was like, appreciate it. Have a good race. So he headed
He's
on.
a
I got,
different type of friend. He's not
yeah,
he's
yeah,
not mean like us.
yeah. Well, so anyway, so I got to the aid station, and they were, they saw me, and I was limping. And I couldn't talk. I mean, teeth were chattering, and he says, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just cold." And they're like, "Okay." Well, they were like, "You can go inside and just get warmed up." And I was like, "No, I think I'm just gonna quit here." And they were like, "Well, but you're perfect." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm done. I don't want to run no more. I'm over it." And I was like, well, how long? Because there was a bus there, and I was like, well, can I get on the bus? They're like, no, that's not your bus. They said it'll be like 3 or 4 hours before the bus comes. And I was like, yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that part.
yeah,
Three or
that's the
four
thing.
hours.
I was like, yeah, yeah, and that I think that's the whole thing that changed everything is because if there had been a bus there, I would have gladly gone on it and gone back to the resort and been fine. But he was like, yeah, it's gonna be if it wasn't 4, I know it was 2 or 3 hours for the bus was gonna come. I was like, all right. So I just went in there and they put some blankets on me and I think I texted. I don't know if I text you or if I text Tim first, but I just hey, giving you a heads up, I'm done, and Tim was like, well, what's the matter? And I'm like, nothing. I'm just cold. And I was like, so I'm just gonna wait on the bus and all that. And he was like, are you hurt? And I was like, no. And he sent back a text with a couple words in it. And basically he was like, well, that's not how how this works. He said, yeah, I think y'all were like 32 minutes behind me or something like that, or 28 minutes. He's like, we'll be there in a little while. He's like, don't go anywhere. And he was like, don't get on a bus. And I was like, I got it. And I think I text you the same time too. And you're like, we're coming to get you and whatever. So I waited there and there was thousands of people that kept passing, and just kept um I don't know. I just waited and waited, and finally I saw y'all come up, and it was y'all, and it was Rick, and who el-
Anthony.
and Anthony. That's right, Anthony. And then I remember I never forget. I'm sitting there just kind of dazing off, and Tim comes in and he says, "All right, buddy, you about ready?" And I said, "Ready for what?" He said, "We got to go finish this marathon." I said, "I ain't got to do nothing." I said, "Man, I'm done." He said, "Nah, man." He said, "It don't work like that." He said, "Get up, come on." But he didn't say. He said it a little bit more sternly and used a couple words. And then you come in there and you're like, well, "Come on, we got to go." And I'm like, "I don't want to go." You're like, "You're going." So then I got up and they're like, "You said I got you." I said, "I'm gonna wrap you up like a." You said you're gonna swallow me, and I was like, "I don't know what that is." So y'all, this lady wrapped me up like a Taco Bell gordita in one of the Mylar blankets. I had them top and bottom,
You did.
and where I didn't have my gloves because I left them in Porta John. Tim was like, "Here, just take these." So I took Tim's sweaty gloves off from his hand, put them on my hands. Still felt the warmth sweat of his hand. Put them on my hands.
Yum.
Yeah, and then somebody gave me some hot hands, and he was like, "Well, look, we're just gonna walk." He's like, "Until you're ready." So we're gonna walk. We're gonna get this. He's like, "Just keep going forward." So it took, but what, maybe a mile and a half or something, and I don't know, I kind of got thawed out,
We kept
and then
bribing you. It was, well, we're just going to run to the next character stop.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
just going to run to the next aid station. We're just going to next run to the banana
yeah,
stop. Everything
yeah,
was, it was like a kid. We're
yeah.
going
What?
to bribe you and get you to the
Well, and that was the thing too, because y'all's interval, like y'all were pretty much straight running just to each, and
character.
and I was like, I can't do this. That's terrible, but it worked because it was kind of I was kind of like as soon as I started to get like complainy or Mr. Sassy Pants, it'd be time to stop again. So and then we'd get to our character stop. The line was long. I was like, yes, that means we don't have to run right now. It's fantastic. So that went on until we got on the outskirts of Animal Kingdom. I would run back and forth with y'all, and uh, I would switch people I was running with in the group, and then you were like, "We're running Everest." And I was like, "Wait, what? Do we?" And first that was the first thing I was like, "Do we have time?" And you're like, "Yes, we have time." And I think if I asked you once, I asked you like 4 times, "Are you sure we got time?" And you're like, "Yes, we have plenty of time." So I just remember getting in there, and did I end up riding it by myself? I think I did. Oh no, I read it with some random lady.
Yeah.
But I remember that train car smelled. It was just bad. It was not good.
Well, what was shocking to me is in years past, they put all runners on one train car and they had regular guests intermingled with us. And I
Oh
was like,
no.
oh, those poor
It-
people,
yeah.
this is not a good way to do this. They
I
really
was like,
should
I
not
hate it
be
for you. I hate it. It was awful.
I was like, they're probably riding Everest like this, pitching their nose, trying to.
Yeah, well, the smells were awful, but obviously the memory of what was happening was not awful. But what messed me up is because I was already tired, because we're halfway through the marathon, so your body's already starting to get broken down. And then I didn't get nauseous on the ride, but my inner ear fluid, I was like, "Yep, you're almost 44. You're getting old." I was feeling it. It was bad.
Well, the problem with Everest is because we were wet and it was cold, and then we got really cold because you're on
Yeah,
the ride and you're going
right.
fast. So that was also problematic because we got really, really
Yeah,
cold.
but super fun. I mean, and so you asked me about experiences on top of everything, the other stuff. Well, hang on. So fast forward. We we leave Animal Kingdom, and I think we all had a round of bananas, and it was fine. And the sun, by this time, the sun was it was getting a little warmer, so your body is like, all right, we got it. And then you just get on that godforsaken road that uh, the what is it? Grant is Coronado's on, and it's just that's the new ESPN road. I think it just and then you go there, and then you go to the doggone water park. It's like, guys, y'all can do better than this. It's just such a drag from there until you get to the studios. It is such a drag. But but we did the same thing the whole way down that road. We went to got to a character stop, and then we started using the mile markers too. We would stop at a mile marker and take pictures there, which I needed it because I was falling apart. And uh, but then you get done with all that, and then you get onto boardwalk, and then of course you get up to the lizards and you see all them, and then so I kind of got a little misty eyed there. And then as we get through World Showcase, and we stopped with my Roman and took that picture. He'd been done for like days, but we took that picture with him, and that was then I was like, oh God, I felt it. Then I was like, just be cool, be cool, be cool. And then as we started getting to the finish shoot, Tim was beside me, and I said, dude, I'm about to lose it. I said, I'm getting emotional. He said, go ahead, buddy. He said, it's fine. I said, well, I don't want anybody to see. He's like, man, don't worry about it. He said, you done gone through a lot. He said, cry. He said, it don't matter. So we're running down. I'm like, oh God, I'm so happy. I mean, it looked like I'd lost a family member. It was terrible. But then we get, we all held arms up, hands up when we went through, and it just, I don't know. I remember everybody's face and hugging everybody, and then I had Tim put the medal on me, and still have that picture. I printed it out. I have it in my room, have it on my phone. It just that's probably one of the best memories I think I've ever had of running down there. Is that whole the last half marathon of marathon this past year was probably the best memory I have. I
And
ran
you
down there ever.
and you almost got on that bus.
I know.
You
I
had all
know.
these mean people that wouldn't let you do it.
I know. I know. I'm just saying this is I'm just happy that there was not a bus there. That's it. Because
Yeah.
I'd have been at Pop with product in my hair and clean. I would have been, chilling. So
That was for later. You
just
needed just a little delayed.
yeah, yeah. But
Well, I'm glad it all worked out because you wouldn't be training for it this year. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't be perfect anymore, and then I need a new nickname for you. I don't
that's
know.
right. That's
And
right.
I'm not good at nicknames, so
Well, that's the thing. If I lose this perfect status or whatever, discount me out. I'm not because as far as time and money and all that, I can spend it on something else.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's not a cheap endeavor. It's not.
No,
And the training
no.
is hard. I mean, let's just
Yeah.
be really, really honest. The training is hard. I mean,
especially
there
around especially around the holidays. It just gets,
yeah,
with
that was
Thanksgiving, like that
Thanksgiving
whole
week.
Thanksgiving kicker, that's tough. That's real tough because you have to, especially if you're traveling. Luckily, I don't have to worry about travel. But if you do between that and if you're cooking,
Yeah.
it's terrible. So,
I
anyways,
may, if I'm allowed to run, which we'll find more out soon, but I may actually do it a week early because our daughter will be home from college that whole week, and I don't want to
yeah,
go out there 4 or 5 hours, go for a run. I mean, she'd probably be
yeah,
asleep, but not awake yet.
yeah.
But
But
I don't want to miss time with her. She's only home for a week, so
well,
I'm
that's
like,
the thing. I mean, you have to get up, 2 or 3 hours earlier than you're in No, I hate running with a headlamp if I don't have to. Don't do that.
yeah,
You know.
I don't mind it. I have the Knox gear light up thing, and then they
Yeah,
have a lamp that clips on the Knox gear, so it's like at your stomach level. So
yeah,
it's the headlamps used to give me really bad headaches. Like
yeah.
after a while, they because all that pressure pushing on your head
Sure.
keeps so the lamp would bounce around and fall off. But I
Right.
love that Knox gear, and that light is bright, like
Oh
to the
yeah.
point that if I have it on and I see another runner coming, I cover my lamp because I'm like I'm going to blind them.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to be seeing
Right, turn
stars
your
after
light off.
this.
What's wrong with you? Yeah,
So I try to be if I see the person coming. I mean, I try to wear bright stuff and wear my next door neighbor calls it my rave party thing.
sure.
Like you look
Oh
like
yeah.
you're in a rave party. I'm like,
I don't.
listen, cars see
Yeah.
me.
Oh
That's
yeah. I look like an emergency vehicle. Like when I run early in the morning. Like this time of year, I'll get up 6 or 7 and get out there, and it'll still be not even daylight. I got an orange light. I got a green light. It looks like you could land a helicopter on my head. It's fantastic. So
but I mean, even with all that, cars still they don't see you. So you gotta be
not at all.
careful. Gotta be
Not at
careful.
all. That's right. That's right. So
What are you looking forward to the most this upcoming year?
I am looking forward to what we're going to eat for brunch because that is a big deal right here. Because here's the deal, Cape May, correct? Is
Nope.
that what's
Ale
the
and
what's?
Compass.
Thank you. And I say it every time, and you always correct me. So Ale and Compass. Pardon me. I'm not talking about any other meal from Ale and Compass. I'm talking about primarily the breakfast. It is now garbage. It is not what it used to be. The quality's gone down, and the biggest thing is they took away the pancakes. They serve breakfast. They won't serve you pancakes, or they don't have toast. You remember that? Remember
I
they
do.
wouldn't. Yeah, I was like, I just want toast for my eggs. Yeah, we don't do that. What do you mean you don't do that? I want toast. Yeah, we don't do that. So
That's the strangest
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Well, like I said, there's going to be probably be right around when this show drops. We're going to have a survey out there and see what everybody likes. What frustrates me is there's some really great brunch options, but they only have true brunch on Saturday and Sunday. So
sure,
because we like to do this after 5K day, because you can have a big meal still because the next day is only the 10K
absolutely,
day.
absolutely.
Um, it's we like to do it on 5K day. I don't want to go have a big huge brunch on half marathon after the half marathon because I got to run the marathon the next day. That's not going to
Right,
work.
right,
So I wish more places had true brunch options.
right.
Our friends, Jason and Vern, they just talk about how awesome the brunch is at Raglan Road. Well, again,
Right.
it's only weekends, so I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, people, like let's.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm just like you. I can't on half marathon day. I don't want that just because. Yes, nature will take its course between, but I don't want to deal with that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
I
and to go back, I don't think so. I'm looking more than just breakfast with y'all, but it's not just the breakfast. It's all the other endeavors that we do as a group. All the lunches and all and the dinners. But the biggest thing too is I still haven't seen Harmonious yet. I have not seen it. I've not seen it, and obviously I haven't. I only go down there one time a year. I have not seen the new nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. So that's, as it stands right now, I'm scheduled to go down on Tuesday, but I think I'm pretty much going to change that back to a Monday, so I have an extra day or two so I can see all that stuff. But the
yeah,
problem is, Jody, with vacation, I'm getting married next April, so I got to kind of save, money, and I also got to save vacation time because at this point they're both as valuable to me, as they. So I'll work that out. But yeah, I'm just the things I'm looking forward to are those, but then most importantly is the hanging out with you guys and all the meals because the meals are where we actually make our some really good memories. I had one on the run this year, but we also make some really good memories sitting
yeah.
down and breaking bread. So
I agree. I love you just get to know different people and get to hear their stories, and I always find it to be a good experience. So,
sure.
but unless Ale and Compass magically brings back those blueberry bacon pancakes, it is off the list.
I know who was there whose ever idea was that so dumb. They were so good. Oh my gosh, they were
And
good.
they cannot be that expensive because
No.
you're taking maybe what one piece of bacon, maybe two in a pancake, and
And,
cutting it up
and
for small. I mean, it
and you
cannot be an
and you
expense thing.
Well, that's you can buy a box of Bisquick for pancake mix for what under $3. Give me a break, and that'll yield a bunch. Whatever, it's crap. Somebody came in and was like, "Oh, we're going to do this progressive." Don't bring pancake back.
Yeah,
Anyways, so
yeah, and some toast.
it's
Just
toast.
go
Give me
get
a
a little
break.
something.
It's toast.
Not that hard.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, anyway, well, wherever it will be, we will let everybody know. And we'll put it on the Lizard page. Like this is where we're choosing to go. If everybody wants to join us, you can. Like or any friends, really, anybody who's out there want to join. I mean, I like when they're a big group and everybody gets a chance to talk and meet
Sure.
with each other, and I think it's fun. So
It seemed to work out this past year. We kind of had to work in teams to get reservations, but it worked out great. So
yeah, well, um, you were great because you were there earlier. So you got to make a bunch of reservations. You were like the king of reservations. You're like, I got 8 here and 8 there and 8 there
yeah,
because you got there before the rest of us. So
absolutely,
that was quite
absolutely.
helpful.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I hope. I'm very anxious for this doctor appointment and to get an all clear. I will feel better after that. So
Are
until
are you sweating it right now?
yeah, because I have MRI on Tuesday and they won't tell me if I'm going to rehab or surgery until after the MRI.
I got you. I
So,
understand.
oh, hold on, Caleb. Somebody's here who wants to say hi to you.
Who's that? Who's that? Let me see that fella.
He never comes on the podcast.
Look at that guy.
So
Look at that guy.
it's an audio podcast.
It's an audio podcast.
It is an audio podcast.
Do I have to say hello?
Yes, you do.
But I still see
Say
you
hi.
though. So
Hello?
it is. Hello.
It's your first time on the podcast.
It is.
Look,
That's
just
right.
for you, Caleb. He came on
Yeah.
to say hi just to you.
Hello, Mr. Benning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing? Looking
I'm doing
good.
well. If you can see right above my shoulder, right there where I'm pointing, this guy right here, those are your gloves with my dopey medal for this
I love
year, right there.
I love it.
So
love
this
And that's
house,
his lunchbox right there.
yeah,
Caleb,
I don't know if you know about my lunchbox, Tim, but this
we've
is
never
it,
heard
right
about the
here.
lunchbox.
Yeah, it's cool. It's great.
Best lunchbox ever.
Give me a break. Anyways, I digress. So
Okay.
Anyway.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks.
Good to see you, Tim. See you, buddy.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, now it's time to wrap up with your favorite part of the show. And listen, Caleb, this is one thing I know that he can definitely quack people up. So Caleb, you wanna give us your joke?
Yeah, so I work for a defense contractor here locally in Georgia, and we make airplanes for a living. It's a very big facility, it's huge. So with that, there comes in some of the tunnels, you will see some rather large cockroaches. It's nasty, and they take care of them, but they've been there for 70 years, so they just do their thing. But I tell you, the other day we have like common areas around the property and or in the factory, and I saw one of the common areas where they have like vending machines. I saw I walked over there. You ain't gonna believe this. I saw a rodent. Okay, I saw a rodent dancing to Hall & Oates. I left. I can't go for that. I cannot go for that. No can do. That's awesome. If you don't like that joke, you can quit this podcast. That's a good one right there.
Oh, I wasn't sure we were going with that.
It's good, wasn't it?
It was good.
Well, when I heard it a couple weeks ago, I about died. So,
Oh,
anyways,
gosh. We should have left him in here for that.
listen.
Didn't leave too early. All right. Well, mine's a little more basic because I'm lucky to have a joke because we all know most of the time I forget this part of it. So, it's about to be my favorite time of the year, which is fall. This last week, it's felt like fall. It's been crisp and nice. And, Starbucks has pumpkin spice out, so it must be fall. And it's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, so it must be fall. So why do trees hate tests in the fall?
Why do trees hate tests in the fall? I don't know.
Because they get stumped by the questions.
Yes, they do. See, that's good. That's the type of joke that American can stand behind, Jodi.
I mean, it's just basic. It's just easy.
Done. Stumped. Banger.
It is.
Banger.
It's there. At least I had one today. So.
Yeah, that's good. Well done. Well done. Good job.
All right. Well, thank you, Caleb, for joining us. I am looking forward to seeing you in January and hearing all the stories and having all the fun. And, one of the things I love about January is you come back and not only is your body sore, but your cheeks hurt. And now I'm not talking about the cheeks that you sit on. I'm talking about the cheeks in your face because you've been laughing so much and smiling so much. And listen, no matter if you're doing the 5K, the 10K, half of the full combination thereof, some parts, all, whatever. If you want to have fun, there's an opportunity for fun. And,
sure.
and it's a great time to spend time with friends who love Disney, who love running. And I look forward to it every year. It's a special family reunion, and I very much look forward to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I will see you in January.
I'll be there to be seen.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and have an awesome day.
See ya.